About 61 to 62% of Americans every year die of these diseases and their related diseases.
Cow might have been treated with antibiotics, might have been treated with a lot of hormones, and therefore those would be passed on to the milk for us, which is not good for us.
In order to reduce the population's burden from cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes and their risks, the preponderance of evidence indicate that beneficial health effects are associated with several changes in consumption of dietary fats and cholesterol.
My definition of healthy is basically my lifestyle and how it makes me feel inside, my energy level, and so things that make me healthy are things that I put in my body. Whole grains, fruits and vegetables, water.
To me, healthy is a healthy mind and a healthy heart. When I first started out, I was doing 3-hour exercises 4 days a week. Now, to maintain it, I do 1-hour exercises 3 days a week.
Foods that have not been processed and preservatives added, those are going to be our healthiest foods for us because they are loaded with the most vitamins and minerals.
According to Center of Disease Control, obese youth are more likely to have risk factors for cardiovascular disease such as high cholesterol or high blood pressure.
My name is Ariana Boyce. I'm 12 years old and I have high blood pressure.
Children are drinking milk that is full of hormones and antibiotics, and they have not finished fully developing. It can lead to early puberty in some of those kids, and it can cause an imbalance in growth hormone. It can cause an imbalance in other hormones as well.
A lot of processed meat, you're eating antibiotics. Those antibiotics go to your system. So the amount of antibiotics that are in your system now will dictate how your body reacts, and your body becomes immune to those. So many of the antibiotics that we used to use as humans are ineffective now because we've eaten so many antibiotics and meat that we've actually become immune. So it's and the other problem is growth hormones. So when you eat meat that has hormones in it, supermarket meat, you're eating growth hormones. And when you eat growth hormones, you grow. So we see a lot of obesity. We see a lot of adolescents reaching, puberty early. All of this happens because what you eat goes into your body. And then, of course, lack of exercise, lack of, this all matters.
An increased link between red meat consumption and cancers, colon cancer, etc. So how does the consumption of red meat result in long-term effects? It has an effect on long-term outcomes. So it has a negative effect. Consumption of red meat has a negative effect on long-term outcomes for all three: cholesterol, hypercholesterolemia, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease.
And I found out I had high blood pressure, I believe, at the age of 24. I was constantly sick, and I kept telling my mom that I was having headaches and I was dizzy. And she told me to go and have my blood pressure checked. And when I went to have it checked, it was high. I found out that I had the high blood pressure. I had to change my eating habits. And it wasn't easy at first. But I'm learning to be better at it and eating right. Because I want to be around a long time. I actually changed my eating habits by mistake. I did a challenge with one of my friends where we did 2 months, no meat, just mostly vegetables. And we tried to see which one was going to do it, which one was going to, do it the most. And I ended up winning. And I noticed in the process that my body was feeling so much better. And in those 2 months, I lost 15 pounds. I was 296 pounds then, and now I'm at 166.
No single food is extremely important. There are many foods that are extremely important, and that we should consume many foods in moderation. If you consume way too much of one food, it can have a negative. It's not a balanced diet then if we're consuming way too much of one food group or way too much of one food. Again, our goal is balance, so then we would say that there are many important nutrients and not just one single nutrient to keep us alive.
If consumed in excessive amounts. I feel that if you consume milk and animal products in moderation, that it should be fine.
There's good meat and there's bad meat. Good meat is meat that's raised on a farm, raised naturally on grass, or using no antibiotics, steroids, or hormones, no growth hormones. In other words, the way that a steer or a hog is supposed to be raised, or a lamb, right, naturally on a farm. A processed animal is an animal that is raised on a farm for a while and then moved to a factory farm or a feedlot. In a feedlot, they feed the animal grain, corn, vitamins, supplements, hormones, growth hormones, steroids, and because they're feeding this animal to fatten him up faster to get the market, they're making the animal sick. Animals get sick. And when an animal gets sick, because a cow isn't supposed to eat corn, for instance, or grain, they're not supposed to digest that food. So what happens is when a cow eats food it's not supposed to eat, it can't digest it. So it stays in their stomach. And their stomach begins to ferment. And that causes a lot of bloating, just like we get bad gas and we get upset stomach. Imagine a cow, only 1,000 times worse. So he gets real sick, and then bacteria starts to build. So in order to kill the bacteria, they have to feed the animal antibiotics. Now all of that, steroids, hormones, all that processed food, everything that goes into that steer goes into the meat.
Eat meat or chicken or fish. We have to kill animals, and that's harmful to our environment, our overall environment. Each of those animals has a reason for being here on Earth, and if we kill it in large quantities, such as if we kill a certain fish in large quantities, it's going to cause an underpopulation of that fish in the water stream.
Meat that has been manufactured by large companies. Now, you could say, how can a cow be manufactured? Well, it actually can. Most cows are supposed to live about 2 years, 24 months. And in 24 months' time, on grass, you can grow a healthy cow, okay, to about 1,200 pounds. Then you can slaughter that cow, and you can slaughter it in a fashion that's humane, and doesn't stress the animal out like a lot of slaughtering plants do. And then that meat becomes very nutritious because of that very reason.
Public service announcement on how to eat right and which foods contain the nutrients that our bodies need. We can, when we look at billboards that advertise products, and radio shows, etc., we can use billboards to our advantage to help our population of people eat healthier. We see that even the fast food restaurants are getting healthier menus. There's a lot of work that we need to do here in the U.S. to promote better eating, healthier eating, more balanced eating, and we have a lot of obesity here in the U.S., so there's a lot of room for eating less total quantity of food and exercising more. These messages are all around us, and people need to choose to want to listen and want to hear and want to follow the directions that have been provided for them. So our doctors are a good source of information. Teachers in schools are expected to be teaching healthy eating to children in schools. So it's going to take all of us to band together to work on obesity in America and healthier eating in America.